Hey everybody. Here is another quick update on the project status. So this is the car you might have seen me do in the live stream. Alright, as you can see, I'm finished putting the materials on it. It looks pretty damn neat. So yeah, this is the car. Okay, now on to updates. Okay, first off, I just did a system that lets you steer with the mouse. Now I had to make a bit of logic gates in the master vehicle blueprint for that. And before I even show it to you, you have a checkbox right here that you can untick to deactivate the mouse for steering and keep the mouse for looking around. Alright? So don't freak out if you don't like it. So when you do use the mouse for steering, you have to use the mouse buttons to rotate the camera. Alright, now as you can see, I'll move the mouse and the steering follows. Alright, it doesn't spring back into zero angle, and you can do some pretty severe changes really fast, or just go real slow. Alright, so as you can see, now this is going to take a bit of getting used to, of course, but I feel this is a really nice way to control the steering, because it allows you to smoothly rotate the steering if you feel like it, or just slam it, to cause drifting and whatnot. And this prevents the use of a steering speed curve to avoid the player making sudden changes in the steering at high speed, because you now have control over the speed at which you want to steer at, and you can control exactly the angle of the steer you want, because it doesn't spring back into position. So I feel this is a much more accurate way to steer your vehicle. Although, as I mentioned, it'll take some getting used to, because it's not really natural, or at least it doesn't feel too much natural for me. But I could get used to this. I'm sure I would come to enjoy it a lot. Now the next thing is, I've added camera shake. As you can see, it's just a timeline that you can modify to your liking. That rubber banding again. What the hell is going on? Yeah, so anyway, that's that. I'll just quickly deactivate the mouse for steering to demonstrate something else. For those of you who are going to untick that and use the keyboard for steering and keep the mouse for looking around, See, it works just as it did before. You can't maintain an angle, it's either full or none. And inside, the camera now waits a second before it's bring back into position. So you can actually look around, and it's gonna wait for you to not input any mouse movement for a second before it goes back to that view. Now also the other thing, I've added a drag value to the wheels depending on which surface they stand onto. So for example, the drag force can be adjusted for the grass and the road differently, so that when a wheel hits the grass, it kind of pulls the vehicle toward the direction of the wheel. I'll show that in a second. Now, it might be hard to see because I made it pretty slight, but you see there, I'm not hitting steering. I have to actually steer left to not be pulled to the right too much. And of course that affects the top speed you can get when you're rolling onto the grass, because the grass is kind of dragging the wheels, It's not as easy to go forward on grass as it is on the road, so. You can also see I changed the decals for the drifting a little bit. If I drift on the grass, there's no smoke coming up. Now, of course, in a perfect world, I would have different particle effects, and skidding on grass would be kicking up some mud and grass, right? But for now, I just made it different, so you can see that I'm working on this. And that's pretty much it for this little update. This beautiful car model, camera updates, mouse for steering. Oh, and I've also made a navigation button. So, even if you use the mouse to look around, you can still use the button. Okay, what's happening? Okay, I got stuck. That's weird. Yay. Okay, I don't know why it did that. Let's just hope it doesn't happen too often. So yeah, that's it. Nothing much really. Just doing some polishing on the cameras. Now what I'm gonna do next is one of you guys sent me animations for entering and exiting the car. And I'm going to implement these into the interaction system to, make the transition from player to vehicle animated so that it looks better. And that's it. Yeah, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for next awesome video. Damn, I love this car. All right. See you.